Hi, and welcome to a sound clip from our Bible study discussions every Tuesday night from 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. in Pakalani. Please enjoy.
We are going to continue in our series on wisdom. So in June, I started a series on wisdom. And one of the questions that we tried to answer predominantly the answers we got were in Proverbs chapter 2. Now the question was, why is wisdom important? So just for a quick recap, one of the reasons that I thought just in my head before I went to chapter 2 is it's costly not to be wise. If you're not wise, you're going to pay for it in ways that are not nice, right? But if you look at some of the scriptures that we looked at, it was chapter 2, verse 5 and 9 that I sat on, right? Can somebody go there quickly? Proverbs chapter 2, verse 5. And then somebody go Proverbs chapter 2, verse 9.
Verse 5 says, "Then you will understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God."
Awesome. Yeah, I just told that you're going to read 9 for us. Yeah. It takes wisdom to know God. That's what chapter 5 is saying. It's important. And I think part of the reason why in this group is we are interested in knowing God. You don't come to a Bible study without an interest to know God. And I think what's great about what the scripture here is saying is it's nice exercises like this are not enough. You need to apply wisdom to know God. Can you read 9 for us?
All right, 9. This is from the NIV. "Then you will understand what is right and just and fair, every good path."
So that was the other reason why wisdom is important. To understand what is right, what is just, what is fair, and every good path. We're all on a path, whether you like it or not. In terms of your diet, you're on a path. In terms of your career, you are on a path. In terms of your attitude, you are on a path. In terms of your relationship with God, you are on a path. Wisdom helps you know every right path, the correct path on the diet that you're on with your relationship with God, with your career. Wisdom is your friend. You want to be wise. These are the two reasons that I looked at in terms of why wisdom is important. So today what we're going to do is we're going to discuss how to get wisdom. We've established why wisdom is important, but today we're going to say, okay, how do you become wise? So we're going to look at Proverbs 9, verse 10. Can somebody go to Proverbs 9, verse 10? And then somebody go to Proverbs 1, verse 7. But we're going to start with 9, verse 10. You got it?
Yeah, I got it. So still in the NIV, Proverbs 9:10 reads, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and knowledge of the Holy One is understanding."
Awesome. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. How do you get wisdom? Fear God. That's the beginning. Right? Tsapa, do you have 1, verse 7? I think you'll be our reader today.
Proverbs 1 verse 7 reads, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction."
So the opposite of wisdom is being foolish, if I take it in an English sense. And Proverbs 1 verse 7 is making it clear. It's saying, you are foolish if you do not fear God. 9 verse 10 made it clear. It says, the beginning of wisdom is fear of the Lord. So that's just one of the things that in my research and in my prayer and my devotion I looked at How do you get wisdom? Proverbs made it very clear. Number one, fear God. All right? Let's look at another one. Does somebody have Proverbs 19, verse 20?
Got it. Proverbs 19, verse 20. Listen to counsel and receive instruction, that you may be wise in your latter days.
Right? Another way to get wisdom is to take advice. That's what it's saying very clearly. Listen to advice and accept discipline, and at the end you'll be counted among the wise. That's what my version says. Proverbs 13:10, I'm going to read it here. Where there is strife, there is pride, but wisdom is found in those who take advice. I'm going to read it again. Where there is strife, there is pride, but wisdom is found in those who take advice. So if you find yourself in your life that you're not an easy person to advise, you're running away from wisdom. I'm not going to ignore the fact that not everybody gives good advice, right? Hey, there's people who tell you are the prize charmer, right? I don't know. I'm sure in that there's a context where that's good advice, right? But not everybody gives good advice. But if you are somebody who the consensus, your parents can't advise you, your uncles can't advise you, your friends can't advise you, you are the wisest person in your eyes, I think you are not somebody who is trying to be wise. Take advice. I'm going to read it again. 19 verse 20. Listen to advice and accept discipline, and at the end you will be counted among the wise. 13 verse 10. Where there is strife, there is pride, but wisdom is found in those who take advice. So the first one, fear of the Lord. That's how you become wise. Second one, take advice. Third one, walk with the wise. Let's look at 13:20 again. No, that was 13:10. I'm going to read it here. Proverbs 13 verse 20. Are we there? Proverbs 13 verse 20 says, walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm. I'm going to read it again. Walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm. When I started this series, I did mention that we're going to look at other books of the Bible, because wisdom isn't necessarily found in the book of Proverbs. And one of the books I looked at, or one of the stories in the Bible I looked at, is the story of Jonah. Are you guys all familiar with the story of Jonah? I don't have to read it. Well, or should I read it? Right? I should read it. Let me summarize, because I don't want to talk too much. I want to get your opinions and we can discuss. So Jonah was asked by the Lord. Jonah is a man of God, right? Jonah is a man of God. He was asked by the Lord, go to Nineveh and preach. Go to Nineveh and minister. Go to Nineveh and do the work that I have for you to do there. That's what God said to Jonah. What did Jonah do? Jonah took money. He found a person who has a boat who's going to Tarshish, and he says, I'm not doing that. He had his own beef with people in Nineveh, right? He didn't want to go. He disobeyed God, and what did he do? He went to Tarshish. And the wrath of God showed up in the form of a storm and shook the boat and did the most, and like people were scared for our lives. I don't know if you guys watched that that show Deadliest Catch. Like, the oceans can be rough. Like, we may not know this context when we live in Botswana, because I get what we have is kawa and and kalakadi. Like, you're just seeing it on TV. That looks scary, right? So just imagine that. Add thunder and lightning for dramatic effect, right? Long story short, no, that's not even my point, that he was swallowed by a whale. Long story short, the crew, anybody else in the ship, were like, no, let's cast lots, let's find out, like, why is the wrath of God after us like this? What is the reason? Long story short, Jonah just gave himself up and said, listen, this thing is happening because I'm here. Throw me out and they'll be calm. What did they do? They threw him out. And there was calm. Now, a very good lesson to take from this is don't disobey God, because it's not going to be nice for you. But more related to the issue of walking with the wise, right? Let's look at the scripture that I mentioned. 13 verse 20, right? Walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm. Jonah didn't obey the Lord. Jonah didn't fear God, because fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. He acted foolishly. And he began to suffer harm. But the point here is he was not suffering alone. The people on the boat also began to suffer harm. One of the biggest lessons I take from this is it can be cute for some time to hang out and have people close and walk actively with people who are disobeying God. But one day you will suffer harm. You need to walk with the wise to become wise. Because the companion of fools will suffer harm. So, quick recap. How do we get wisdom? Fear God. Take advice. Walk with the wise. And then I'm going to end with this one. Psalms 90 verse 12.
Psalm 90 verse 12 says, teach us to number our days that we may gain a heart of wisdom.
Teach us to number our days that we may gain a heart of wisdom. At the heart of this scripture, I think is just saying, have perspective. Sometimes your perspective is not wise, because you think days don't finish. The Bible is saying these days are numbered. And I like the English here. Maybe what language was Psalms written in? Hebrew. Yeah. Maybe the Hebrews say something different. But I like the English here. It says, teach us to number the days, because sometimes we may not even be numbering them properly. And God needs to teach us to number our days so that we can what? Gain a heart of wisdom. There's a sermon, Ghana TikTok will make you feel like you've watched the entire sermon. But I saw a clip of a sermon on TikTok. And the pastor was saying, listen, at 7 o'clock in the morning, we said good morning. At 1 o'clock, we said good afternoon. At 7 o'clock in the evening, we said good evening. And we inevitably were going to say good night. The clock is ticking, whether we like it or not. And you begin to become wise when you are aware of that. When you are appreciative of the fact that, okay, I need to number our days. But more than that, when you go to God and you say, God, teach me to number my days. I may not be numbering them properly, so that I may gain a heart of wisdom. I've talked too much. I'm sorry. I had a lot to say. But yeah, that is the discussion for today. What do you guys think? What are your opinions? The floor is open.
Thank you for taking your time to listen in. Feel free to add your thoughts in the comment section or join us in person if and when you can. May God bless you.